Our Story Productions presents Martin County on TV, spotlighting the organizations, businesses, and citizens who are making a difference in our community today. And with interviews and stories done by local television shows over the last 25 years, here you're sure to learn more about the county we call home. Get ready, for this is Martin County on TV.
Hello and welcome. I'm Lenny Tvedten, and each month I'm going to visit with some Martin County veterans for a series called Their Sacrifices, Our Freedom. Today I have with me Paul Gladfelter and Bob Huemoeller. First of all, before we get into your experiences in the military, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? And Bob, we'll start with you.
My name is Bob Huemoeller. I was born and raised in Northrop. Graduated from Fairmont High School in 1957. Graduated a degree in accounting from Gustavus in 1961. In the fall of 61, I went down to Pensacola, Florida to the Aviation Officers Commission area. Went through their OCS, was commissioned an ensign in the United States Naval Reserve, and went into flight training. I was not very successful in flight training, so I left there and was assigned to the USS Coral Sea, an aircraft carrier.
Bob?
Yes.
When you got out of the military, what did you do?
Oh,
what was your profession?
well, when I got out of the military, I ended up in Arizona, and I attended Arizona State University, and I got a master's degree in business administration. And I've been practicing as an accountant ever since that time until I retired about 4 years ago.
Okay.
Did a lot of tax work, but that got so doggone complicated. I decided to hang up my shingle and my pencil and put the pencil sharpener away and hung up my green eye shade and said, that's it.
Yeah. Okay, Paul, what about you? What can you tell us about yourself?
Well, I was born in York, Pennsylvania. I'm right now 94 years old. I was born on May 11th, 1927. I had some great parents. I guess I was 14 years old when Pearl Harbor happened. And I got a little bit upset with what was going on because I didn't think that was the way that the world should go. So I joined the Civil Air Patrol because I always wanted to be a pilot. When I was a kid, I built airplanes. And I remember my two favorite airplanes, Bob, you'll relate to this, was a P-38. Remember that baby? And
yes,
then
I do.
The Navy was my inverted gull wing F4U. Inverted gull wing plane.
Yep.
So I guess my wanting to be a pilot guided me through many years of ups and downs. I joined when I was 16 I joined the Army Air Corps Reserve Fund to be a pilot.
When you were 16?
When I was 15. When I was 15.
15.
Yeah.
Wow.
You needed your parents' permission for that?
Well, yes, I did. Because I wanted to be a pilot so badly. I mean, I could just taste it. So in 43, I got a notice from the Army Air Corps. They weren't going to put any pilots through that had not graduated from high school. So as a result of that, they gave me a discharge. So then I went out and I thought, I'm going to try the naval one. So I joined up to the Naval Air Corps to become a pilot. In fact, Robert, I was assigned to go to Pensacola, Florida in Naval Aviation School. Well, I never got there because come late 44, they decided no more pilots. They weren't putting them through pilot school. And so they gave me a discharge. I had a choice of going out and doing any service that I wanted to get into or to go in the Navy. So I wound up in the Navy in early 1945.
How did you happen to pick the Navy?
Pardon?
What prompted you to pick the Navy?
Well, I had to choose, and I love the water, And
But you
I
wanted
love
to
the
fly.
Navy.
You wanted to be a pilot.
But, well, that was over. I mean, they no pilot school because they weren't taking them anymore. So I guess I just had to join something, and so why not join the Navy? Because I love the sea. So I wound up joining the Navy, and I spent 14 months in the Atlantic Ocean on an auxiliary oiler up and down the East Coast. Got a ship in Norfolk, Virginia, and went out to sea and spent 14 months at sea. And what an auxiliary oiler does, I'll tell you what it is. We would fuel aircraft carriers, battleships, cruisers, and anybody, but we did it at sea because the ships could not come into port because it took too long for them to get supplies. So we was a supply ship that went into port, got aviation gasoline and fuel oil, and went out to sea, and we would fuel them at sea. So that's what I spent 14 months doing.
So what would you say, as far as the military, what influence did it have in your life following your service in the military?
Well, I got out of the service, the Navy, in '46, and I went to college. And that's what I wanted to do because we had the GI Bill. So I went to college, and at college I met my wife.
That sounds good.
Yeah.
Bob, how about you? You were in the military, you were in the Navy.
Yes.
And I know in reading your story, you had more than one memorable experience, I think, at sea. So maybe you can share a couple of those exciting times.
Yeah.
About the middle of 1962, I was transferred from Pensacola to the Naval Air Station at Alameda, California, on board the USS Coral Sea. We went into dry dock in San Francisco at Hunters Point for a complete, a pretty extensive dry dock repair. And we then went out to San Diego for some underway training. And in late May of '63 or thereabouts, we headed for the Pacific. We stopped at Hawaii to unload supplies, and then headed for Sydney, Australia, for the national celebration down in Australia of the Battle of the Coral Sea, which took place in June of '43, I believe it was, where the Japanese were attempting to mount a campaign against the Australian nation. And there was a tremendous naval battle called the Battle of the Coral Sea, hence the name of the ship.
Right.
Okay?
All right.
We went down to Australia, but on the way down there, we crossed the equator at the international date line. Now,
They had a little ceremony for you at that point?
oh yeah, it wasn't little, it was big. Anyway,
Did you walk the plank?
no, we never walked the plank.
Never
But
walked the plank,
I'll
okay.
take you through. The tradition in the Navy is that when a ship crosses the equator, any Navy ship personnel who have not crossed the equator before are known as polywogs. And you have to go through a ceremony once you get to the equator. Now, we crossed at the international date line, which gives me the entitlement of a golden shellback. A shellback is an individual who has crossed the equator.
Okay.
We crossed at the date line, so we're golden shellbacks. Now,
Double duty.
oh yeah, the ceremony is you have to meet the King Neptune, I believe it was called, who was the most senior enlisted man on board the ship, most senior in terms of when he crossed the equator for the first time.
Okay.
And he is King Neptune. And the first step was you had to kiss the royal baby. And what they do, I don't know how in the dickens they find them, but they find the fattest petty officer or first class officer in the first class enlisted on the ship, strip him down to shorts, put him in a big diaper, and fill his belly button with grease. And you have to kiss the royal baby's belly button. And of course, when you get to do that, he grabs the back of your head and smashes your nose into his belly button, so you come up with a whole mouthful of grease. Oh, it's just awful. That's one stop. The next stop...
There's more than one thing that happens
Oh,
there?
yeah, there's 5 or 6 things you have to do. Now, I avoided the royal undertaker, but the
Well,
exact...
you're still alive, so...
Oh, yeah, I'm still alive. We just got started. The royal undertaker is a station in this perimeter where there's a box, a wooden box that's filled with week-old garbage and who knows whatever else. And you have to lay in that thing for a little while. Luckily, I missed that one. But our exec on board, the second in command, had never crossed the equator. So that poor guy, he had to lay in that filth for about a half hour. And of course, it's very warm. That garbage is getting more rotten all the time. And
So this is really kind of a lengthy thing. You go through
oh yeah,
several...
it takes nearly the whole day.
Okay.
Then there's a royal tunnel.
But if you've gone through that ceremony,
Then you're a shellback. You don't do it
you
again.
don't have to do it again. This is just for the people that are
Or
the
pollywogs, never,
ones who have never
crossed
done
before.
that.
Yes.
Okay. As far as your time in the military,
Yes.
did that influence you in any way after you got out?
Yes, in a number of ways. But something that I learned in the service is it's kind of unbelievable, but a captain of a U.S. Navy ship at sea is almost God Almighty.
Yeah. Yes.
His ruling within the Navy regs and all that is absolute. And he is almost God Almighty.
You never question his
No,
authority.
no, you don't question his authority. You may ask him why or something like that, but you don't buck up against him.
You're right.
No.
Oh, yeah.
That's one thing I learned, and it carried on is, in my working career, I didn't very often argue with the boss.
And that's a reflection of your time in the military?
I think so.
and
That
relating
plus
to the
my
captain.
dad as well. My dad and my mother when I was still home. That's one thing I learned. Another thing I learned and saw was the abject poverty in Hong Kong. When you get to the mainland, which is just a short hop,
Sure.
there's a large hill up the side, and that hill was absolutely packed with tar paper shacks. I can't imagine how those people live.
There's something
Thank-
you can't get out of your mind after
No,
you've seen it.
I can still see those shacks made out of cardboard and whatever scraps they could find, lumber and that.
It's had an influence on you
Yep.
after that.
Another thing that I remember very vividly is the port of Sydney, Australia, is unquestionably the prettiest port I've ever been in. It's built on a river. The river, the name I don't remember the name, but it flows through near and maybe even through part of Sydney itself.
Sure.
The lawns and these people's homes. The grass is planted and mowed and trimmed right down the water's edge.
It's very well kept.
Oh, it's beautiful.
How about the people interacting
Oh,
with people?
wonderful. Really wonderful. What was really nice, we didn't have a language barrier.
Sure.
When we left Australia, the Australian Air Force guys, they were kind of cagey. Sometime during the night, they got on board the ship, the Coral Sea, and they painted a red kangaroo on the belly of every one of our airplanes. And the red kangaroo was a sign of the Australian Air Force.
Didn't you have somebody on guard duty?
Well, they had them on guard duty, but the Aussies, they came and went pretty much. We weren't worried about it because they were in uniform.
Sure, yeah.
But every blasted plane we had on board the ship had a red kangaroo painted on the underside of it.
Interesting. Well, thank you both for your service, and thank you for being in my book. I really appreciate that.
Thank you. It was fun writing it.
Yeah,
It really
great.
was. Brought back a lot of memories.
Good, good.
And I read some of the other chapters in the book. Some of these guys had some real harrowing experiences. I never set foot in Australia or in Vietnam, but we were out there.
Sure.
Yep.
Well, I'd like to also thank our sponsors, the family of Mike Gary, Sweet Financial Partners, Erpelding Voigt CPAs, and Lacey Prentice, American Legion Post 36 in Fairmont. Thank you, viewers, as well, and we hope to see you at the Martin County Historical Society's Pioneer Museum.
Martin County on TV, a second look.
Well, look who stopped to see me. Alice, how
Ella.
are you again?
Yes,
So glad
fine.
you stopped back to see us. And Denise, haven't seen you for a while. It's nice to have you on the show.
Thank you.
Ladies, of course, I know what you do, and some of our viewers probably know what you do, Alice, because they've
I
seen you
hope
on the
so.
show before. But share with the folks who might have missed the other episode what you do
Okay.
and where it's at.
Our store is called Mixed Nuts Antiques. We're a multi-dealership shop, and our dealers take great pride in pan-picking and presenting vintage, unique, antique treasures. We have something suitable for every age, gender, and personal collecting style.
You know, I'm personally familiar with your store, which I love the store. Very awesome.
Good.
And you always have, like you said, a wide variety of different things. Denise, tell us about how you got involved with Alice and Mixed Nuts.
Well, my husband and I, we have been interested in antiques for 30 plus
Forever.
years. Yes. And we had been in a variety of different stores in the area. And we approached Alice one day when she had an opening in her store. So we decided to rent space from her. Now, my husband and I, we are lovers of anything primitive, stoneware, graniteware, advertising. That's just some of the stuff we have in our booth. And we love going to auctions. That's our vacation time.
Sure.
And we love going to flea markets so that we can find that special thing that somebody might love as much as we do, because I'm a firm believer I buy what I love, because if I have to live with it, I want to love it.
Absolutely. A true collector. I like that. A true collector. And the store presents itself very much that it's a passion, not just for the two of you, but everyone in their individual booth and what they represent.
That is true. And everyone who is there has a different style and taste. And so that's what I feel people are drawn to, is that we can have young, old, male, female.
Sure.
And
Perfect. Very good. Ladies, I see you brought some things along with you. Tell me what we have here.
That is called a dough box. It was actually bought in the Ohio area. I purchased it from an antique dealer friend of mine who travels that way quite often.
Got metal corners.
It's got metal corners, but you will notice on the sides there is wide dovetails. Do you see that on the sides here?
Yes.
That's called Dovetail
Okay.
Joinery. It makes it looks older than it is older. I'm thinking that it is pre-1900.
Really?
I don't know for sure about the date. But what these were used for, if you can see, Jeff, there was the lid that goes with it.
Okay, grab
And
that.
what people would do when people used to make their own bread, they would put the dough in there to rise. And
Put it
if
in here and
people
put the
make
lid
their
on
own
it?
bread, they know what I'm talking about. Yeah, the bread will rise inside the box. And then they can take the lid, flip it, and actually roll out their bread on the lid.
Try it. Give me a second. See if we can do this or not. Okay, so we put the lid on like this.
Yes, and then the
Right.
bread would be inside.
Bread's inside.
Right, and then when you would need some bread, you would take the bread out, put it on the wooden top or on the cupboard, and you roll it out, make
Flip
biscuits,
them.
make bread. Yep, just like that.
Wow. And this, you think, is turn of the century?
I'm thinking is probably earlier than that. It has the original red paint. It's now people don't make bread anymore, at least not in those types of things. You have the bread machines. So now people, what they use them for is they'll put them on their tables. They'll put magazines in them. They'll use them for other purposes, mainly for decorating reasons.
Okay.
You will find some that actually have legs, and those are used quite often for additional work surface in your kitchen.
Okay.
I've seen them used as islands, a small island, especially if you have a small kitchen. Now, one like this, it's even got the mouse chew.
That's why I turned it around. What the heck is this?
That's a mouse chew. Yeah, it got somewhere where there was mice. And
With
that's
bread
what
in
I
it?
love. I don't know. That's what I love about these, when that shows the age and it shows the character. And these are worth anywhere from like $250 all the way up to $1,800, which is kind of depends on what the wood is, the style, if you know who the maker is, the original finish. All these things play a factor in how to appraise something like that.
Okay.
But this one in particular runs around $250 to $300.
Now, is the mouse hole add to the value?
It does. That's what I say. When like I said, we deal in primitives, and when you deal in primitives, the worse shape it is, the more it's worth.
When I was a kid on the farm, we had some very valuable items. I can tell by seeing this mouse hole.
Yes.
Very cool. Thank you for sharing
You're
that.
welcome.
Denise. So, Alice, share with the folks some of the different other booths that are in your store that people might find interesting.
Well, I have Bill Bussey in my store, and you know Bill.
I know Bill.
Yes. And I would like to tell you about Bill's booth. In fact, Bill gave me a script to read about Bill's booth.
I have no doubt, but I'm sure it's correct and has many things of interest in there.
Right, and I would like to read it so I don't miss anything.
Good idea, Alice.
This booth belongs to Bill Bussey. Bill has a multitude of books of every kind. Juvenile series books such as Hardy Boys, Nancy Drew, Bobbsey Twins, Chip Hilton, and others. He also has books on mystery, detective crime novels, along with gardening books, the classics, sports, and entertainment. While reading, visit his extensive collection of music. You will find records from classic rock to country. He also has men's footwear such as boots, sneakers, etc. You may even find a few other items in his booth, like Ken dolls.
So I understand, Alice, you brought something for us to see too.
I did, Jeff, and it's right down there beside you.
Let me grab it.
Okay.
Oh my goodness, so what in the world do we have here?
What we have is an
heavy.
ice cream mold. The ice cream molds were made in the 18th to 19th century, and as they say, you would open up, which I want you to do.
Open it up.
Open it up,
Okay, see if I can figure out how to open it up. Uh-huh.
and you would fill the mold with your ice cream, close it up again, and put it in a place to freeze. Now, all of the ice cream molds were made out of a heavy metal, either cast iron or pewter, which help to keep the ice cream frozen.
So now you really can't tell what it is from the outside, but when you have it open, it becomes blatantly obvious it's Santa Claus.
Then you see that it is Santa Claus, and a lot of them were made for the holidays. There's a jack-o'-lantern one, there's a lot of bunny ones.
Okay.
And this one, like you said, has Santa Claus,
Love
and he's holding a bag.
Now, it is heavy.
It is heavy. The thing that I want to stress is that these ice cream molds cannot be used today for their intended for that purpose because of the metal that was used. It probably contained some lead in it.
Oh, yes. So it's strictly
decorative,
a collectible. A decorative collectible.
Yes. And for its weight, you could also use it as a doorstop.
Oh boy, and then some. What kind of value, Alice, does like this piece?
They can range anywhere from $150 up to thousands of dollars.
Really?
Yes, they can, depending on what the item is.
Well, I can see this on a shelf open like this looking pretty darn cool.
Right.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing. Very interesting, Alice. I bet you have other people have booths, do you know?
I certainly do.
Tell us about another.
Okay. This booth belongs to Sandy. Her love for antiques started at an early age. Her mother loved collecting, and it rubbed off on Sandy. She has never strayed from her appreciation of antiques. Some of her favorite items are primitives, very early cookie cutters, stoneware, Halloween, and other seasonal items, furniture, garden items, and whatever else strikes her fancy. Stop by and see her awesome items.
Wonderful. Another great booth. And you know, those pictures really showed off some unique items in there, too.
That's
I
true.
love that. Now, I know you brought a couple other things. I saw it right in my little corner over here concerning Halloween. Tell us a little bit about some Halloween items, and I will grab them.
Okay.
Wow, look at that. I love it. That's very cute.
What we have here is a paper mache jack-o'-lantern. And what Halloween items are very, very desirable, but they also are very minimal in the amount that is out there. And part of the reason is the early Halloween items were made of paper products.
So most of them didn't survive.
And as with the jack-o'-lantern, you see that he has his eyes and mouth kind of, a candle was put in there.
Oh.
And so a lot of the early paper items burned.
Not really good planning, even though it looks good.
Right. But, you know, each one of the paper mache jack-o'-lanterns all have a very distinctive face on them.
Okay,
And
now
so
what would you determine the year of this would be roughly?
I would say that is roughly pre-1920s.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, it's in remarkable good shape.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's got to be not only with what you were describing as far some of the problems for survival, but how many kids would be destroying this the day after Halloween or even by accident. I'm sure that's the case. Beautiful piece. Love it. And what else do we have here, Alice?
Well, then you went into the 1930s and the 1940s. And you can give that a whirl.
I remember those.
And they went into something that would be a little more durable.
Sure.
And they went into the metal tin noise makers. And I brought
beautiful graphics.
with
Thank you.
graphics on it, yes.
That's very
and
cool.
I was going to say a lot of what determines the price of the noisemaker is what the graphic is
What the
on
graphics
it.
is, I'm sure.
And these can run anywhere from $8-9 and again up into the hundreds.
Very cool. So now, is the sound always about the same?
And its sound is always about the same, yes.
So the fact that that sound has always been irritating is still a
Yes.
fact?
Can I cut in here?
Yes,
for
please
just a
do.
second? The reason why they all make that irritating sound It was believed that that noise would scare away ghosts and goblins
Really?
And the devil.
and the devil.
I bet it did too. I bet it did too. Well, thank you. These are awesome. I love the graphics on those. Very, very cool. I want to hear about another booth. Denise, tell us about the next booth.
Judy has her own store also, which is located west of Fairmont on Woodland, if you go straight out of town that way.
Oh, sure. That
And-
just out, not
Yes,
too far.
Yes, Judy's Country Store. But she also has a small booth at Mixed Nuts. And she has a sampling of what she has in her store at Mixed Nuts as well. She's really into primitives and stoneware. They also have a lot of advertising, and quite a bit of it is local. So that's a good avenue if somebody is
Sure.
collecting advertising. She's been in business for quite a while, and she knows her stuff. So it's always good to go out there and visit with her, because she'll gladly give you any info that you're looking for something, and she'll help you out. But she also has a Facebook page. So go check out her store, go check her booth out at Mixed Nuts. We're good.
Wonderful. That sounds like a nice booth. You got some great booths in the store.
That we do.
Very, very cool. And I see I have one more item over here to show the folks. Who gets to tell me about that item?
Denise.
Congratulations. Let me pull this up, because this is very interesting.
Isn't he cute?
It is awesome.
He actually, when I bought him, it was at an auction. And he was, you know how when you go to an auction, you get a whole box of stuff that you don't want for the one thing that you do.
Sure.
He was actually the thing I didn't want.
Didn't one?
I didn't want him. I'm sorry to say this, and I don't want to offend anybody, but I'm not into dolls, okay? But after I got him out of the box, straightened up his hat because he was pretty smashed, and I thought, oh, I just fell in love with his face. I had him for quite a while in my spare room on the bed, and I thought, okay, I can't keep everything, so I decided to take him to the store. I have researched this little guy. I really can't find anything just like him.
Right.
But I've gone by what other dolls in that era have gone for. We think he was made during the World War II era, 1940s. It depicts a military gentleman, obviously. Other than that, I have looked for prices to how to price him. They go anywhere from $35 all the way up to $300. Okay, I didn't know what to price him at. So why don't you come to the store and buy him, because he could be a $300 one.
Absolutely. Well, he's
I think he also has been in the war,
Yes.
because he has
Yes, it's horrible.
he's been through the war himself. Well, you know, he's in pretty good shape,
He
though.
is, for as old as
And,
he is. He's
you know,
older than me.
The eyes are very interesting, and how they kind of
Do they follow you
move
around?
around. They're kind of eerie. It is very clever, very interesting, unique. Ladies, I have absolutely, this is why I wanted you to have you back. I knew you would bring interesting things, and you brought Denise with you.
Well, yes.
So
I'm interesting too.
you're interesting too. That's why you're on the show. So I'm thrilled you stopped back again. Tell the folks where they can find you again. And do you have Facebook, website, and such?
I certainly do. I have a Facebook page. I am located at 222 South Grand Street, across from Fairmont Fort. My hours are Tuesday through Saturday, 10 to 5.
Okay. And they can like you on Facebook, and I'm sure you post some things periodically on there.
Yes,
so
I
people
do.
can
I
see it.
try to do it, but I need to update more frequently.
No, nobody ever has that happen. Everybody else is updating
Yeah,
every day.
right. Certainly.
No, we all have to work on that, that's for sure.
But whenever I do,
Whenever you have the
put
chance, you
pictures
put up some
on,
cool stuff.
I get response. So
Absolutely. Hey, thank you very much, Alice, again for coming.
Thank
And
you.
Denise, I'm glad you joined us
Well,
today.
thank you. It's
This
been
has
fun.
been great fun, and we're going to have you come on again when you have some other exciting things whenever you want.
Well, that sounds good. I wanted to add at the end is that I'd like to say that our customers, our motto is our customers become our friends.
That is awesome. And you really do feel that when you're in your store. Thanks for coming, lady.
Thank you.
Martin County on TV, a second look.
Well, there you have it, another episode of Martin County on TV. We hope you enjoyed this episode, and we welcome you to tune in again. Thank our sponsors for making this happen, and remember, it's not just the past, but the present that tells our story.